Hi. So, right. So there are these 10 questions of data sufficiency. Topic is percents, ratios, mixtures. Okay. Sorry, just give me a minute. All right, let's begin. As usual, remember, got to solve the worksheet first, given in the description of this video. Then you come and look at the solutions, the explanations I've given in this video. Yeah. This video only gives explanations, no concepts. For concepts, look for the channels given in the description of this video. Yeah. Right. John has a provision store where he made a profit of 20% on selling an article at its retail price. Find out at what price did John purchase the article. A very basic question. All right. Cost price of John is what we need to find out. Yeah. His selling price is 120. Like if I assume it's 100, then selling price is 120, profit of 20%. Yeah. And he sold it at its retail price. So we need to figure out the retail price. Okay. A. Article was purchased by John from a distributor who had bought the same article from a manufacturer at a discount of 20%, yeah, on the retail price of $20. So this retail price is the same retail price, yeah, okay. It is not a different retail price. Hence, we come to know the selling price is $20. So if the selling price is $20, then how much will be his cost price? We can find it out. So it is 20 into 100 by 120. 100 by 6 is 16.666. Okay. So A answers, B, C, E is out. It's either A or D. Statement B. If the manufacturer had sold the article at the price that John sold it for, right? So that means if the manufacturer had sold it at the retail price of $20, yeah, that we don't know. That we don't know. See, an assumption made incorrectly, right? We cannot take any information from statement A and statement B, right? So we have to assume that we don't know the retail price. So therefore, if the manufacturer had sold the article at the price that John sold it for, then the manufacturer would have made a profit of 40%. But we don't know what John sold it for, right? We know it's at the retail price, but we don't know the price. And hence B doesn't help us because it's only given us percentages and we don't have an actual number. So B is out and therefore D is out and only A answers the question. So A is the answer for first one. Second question. It's a mixture question. So remember this worksheet is percents, ratios, and mixtures. Moving on. When 400 ml of sulfuric acid is mixed with water, then the concentration of sulfuric acid would reduce to 30%, right? So this sulfuric acid could be of any concentration. So find the concentration of sulfuric acid before it was mixed with water. Yeah. So this X percent of 400 when mixed with water, so 400 plus whatever the water is, so this is Y, gives us 30%, right? 30% is 3 by 10. So this is information from the question stamp. Yeah. And we need to find out X. Statement A. If 400 ml of the same sulfuric acid was mixed with 200 ml of water, then the concentration of sulfuric acid would reduce to 50%. So now from this question stem, which we, you know, made an expression for, we just substitute the values. So X percent of 400, because it's the same solution, upon 400 of the sulfuric acid plus 200 ml of water. Y is 200. That is reduced to 50%. So 50% is half. Okay. So now we can calculate X because that's the only unknown, right? So X is X over 100. That and this 100 cancel. So we got 4X is equal to 600 by 2. Therefore, 4X is 300. Therefore, X is 75. So we know that the concentration before it was mixed with water is 75%. So A answers, B, C is out. It's A or D. Second statement: if 400 ml of sulfuric acid of another sulfuric acid with 50% concentration is mixed with 400 ml of the original sulfuric acid, then the resultant mixture would have a concentration of 62.5%. Now, since the quantities are the same, correct, we simply take the average of this concentration and X concentration. Yeah, that is the original one. Yeah, and divide. So average is 50 plus X by 2 is 62.5. That's how it works. So we know that 50 plus X by 2, 62.5, and 62.5 is 125. I mean, into 2 is 125. So we can solve it this way. 50 plus X by 2, since the quantities are equal, 400 ml and 400 ml, we can simply take this expression. Okay. If the quantities were not equal, then it would be a different story. Yeah. So therefore, we know 50 plus X is 125, and therefore X is 75. We get the answer. Now, suppose you don't want to use the weighted average technique and you want to solve it in this expression way. Yeah. Then this is how it works. So X percent of 400 plus 50% of 400. So this is the new one. This is the original one. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So this will give me the concentration upon the total 800 ml of the two solutions, and that will give me 62.5 over 100, 62.5%, right? So when we solve this, yeah, right. So this percent will cancel with the two zeros. This percent will cancel with the two zeros. So we have 4x plus 4x plus 50, yeah, into 4, 50 into 4. So 4x plus 200 is equal to this 0 cancels with this 0. 8 times 62.5. So I'll just continue out here. So 4x is equal to 8 5 are 40, 8 2s are 16 and 4 20, 8 6 are 48 and 2 50. So 1 0 drops because of the point. So minus 200. So we get the same thing. 4x is equal to 300 out here, and we get x is equal to 75. So that's just the calculative way, and this is the, if you know the weighted average technique, that is the quantities are equal, then you can simply take the average of the two percentages. Okay, so each alone answers, therefore D is the answer for the second one. Yeah. Third question. Now, obviously, you will probably take more time, yeah, because the wording of each question I have intentionally made it wordy as well as convoluted. Okay, right. Anyway, third question. So the reason I'm doing it quickly is because I have gone through the worksheet. I have made this worksheet. I have made the questions. So making questions doesn't give me any immunity because I do forget. Yeah. Christina sold some stocks at the market price of 20 per unit, making a loss on her total investment on that stock. At what price per unit she should have sold a stock such that she would have recovered her original investment on that stock? Okay. So basically, at what price she should sell her stock, thereby she neither makes any profit nor loss. That's the main idea. Okay. At 20, she's making a loss that we know from the question set. So first statement. Yeah. Had Christina sold her stocks at 10 per unit above the market price, so this is your market price, then she would have made a profit of 20% on her total investment. So had she sold it for $30, yeah. So if a cost price is 100, the selling price would be 20, right? 20% profit. So had she sold it for $30, it'd be how much, right? So 100 into 30 by 120. So that's $25. She would have made a profit of, no, $30, she would have made a profit of 20%. So her cost price, meaning her original investment price is $25. So that gives us the price at which she would have recovered her original investment on that stock. Got it? So 25, we get the answer from A, correct? Right? Okay. Another way to look at it is that if the 25 is X dollars, yeah, and had she sold it at a profit, meaning profit is 20%, which is 1/5, it increases to $30, right? Yeah, correct. So to go back out here, we'll reduce this 30 by 1/6. So it's another accounting technique. We add 1 to the denominator. So 1/6 of 30 is 5. So we reduce 30 by 5, we get 25. So again, like I said, I'm not going to explain you the concepts. This is just the solutions video. Yeah. So if I've explained this in the review, which I doubt I have, but you can figure it out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So A answers. Now we'll check if B answers. Christina had a loss of 20% on her total investment when she sold a stock at the market price of 20 per unit. So now, see, in question stamp, we only knew that she had made a loss, but now we know the percentage of loss. So again, cost price 100, selling price 80, and 20 is the selling price, then cost price how much? So 20 into 100 upon 80, 24s are 4, 25s are, so we get 25. So B also answers the question. So A is wrong, D is the answer, each alone answers. So out here also we could use this accounting technique that if, she, uh, if X is the $25 and it reduced by 20%, so it reduced by 20% and became 20. So in order to go back, then we'll have to now subtract 1 from 5. So we'll take 1/4 of 20. Yeah. So that gives me 5. So we'll add 5 to make it 25. So remember that when it increases and you have to go back to the original, we'll add 1 to the denominator. When it is decreasing and we have to increase it, then we'll subtract 1 from the denominator. So this itself is a conceptual way of explaining it, but not in a detailed way, in a solutions way. So if you can figure it out, good for you. These videos, uh, this channel, yeah, which I'm discussing is obviously meant for advanced learners only. Yeah. But for those who want to have a detailed review, then they can go on to the channels given in the description of this video. Question 4. The bar chart below shows data on car sales for the month of January to March for the years 91 and 92, in which month no change in percentage profit occurred for the sales that took place over the quarter of 1991 when compared to the quarter of 1992. All right. So here's the car sales quarterly data. Reds are 91, blues are 92 for the months of Jan, Feb, March. Yeah. And the sales is given in millions of dollars. All right. So this is 6, 5, 6, 9, about 6, about 5. Okay. So overall monthly cost to manufacture cars for the quarter from January to March of 1991 is $4 million as compared to the cost of $6 million for the quarter from January to March of 1992. So this gives us the monthly cost to manufacture cars. Okay. And this is the sales. So the, the money generated in those months. And we have to find out in which month no change in percentage profit occurred, right? For the sales that took place. So remember, out here, they are not discussing the profit. The percentage profit is different from profit, right? For the sale that took place over the quarter of 91 when compared to the quarter of 92. So this could be very confusing. See, as you take the data for 1991, yeah, Jan is 6, Feb is 6, yeah, and March is about 6. And if you see 91, the cost is $4 million, right? Cost is 4. So if you see, there's no change in profit, right? But that's not what they're asking. If you read carefully, no change in percentage profit occurred for the sales that took place over the quarter of 1991 when compared to the quarter of 1992. In which month? So they're talking about that particular month where the percentage profit had not changed when compared to the year 91 of that same month, yeah, with 92 of that same month. So now if we take 1992 out here, I'll write it down. Jan is 5, right? Feb is 9, and March is about 5, correct? And the cost is 6. The cost is 6. Yeah. So again, this information takes time to digest. You can't just straight away write it the way I'm doing it. And in a organized way also I'm doing it. That's because it's me who's designed this question and pretty fresh in my mind since I just did it yesterday. All right. So if I were to do this particular question 5 years, 10 years down the line, then I would take more time definitely to just organize it and understand what they're asking. Correct. So now if you see, there's a loss out here. Yeah, that is the sales, that is the cost for the month of Jan. Out here there's a profit, and out here is the loss. So obviously 6 to 9, the profit is 3 upon 6, half, 50%. And out here 4 to 6, 2 is a 50% is a profit throughout actually. But out here in Feb, it gives me the same month. So the month we get to know from statement A itself, right? So A, B, C, D, E, I get my answer from A. So B, C, E is out. Okay. But another important thing that I assumed out here is the way I calculated the profit. Is it simply the difference over the cost, like the selling price, cost price way of doing it? We don't know, right? We don't know that. Correct? See, it tells us data on car sales. It tells us the monthly cost to manufacture cars. All right. It's not a simple thing like cost price and selling price. It's an industry. So then we'll have to look at a definite way that is this the solid way. Now B gives you that answer. B tells us that percentage profit is equal to 100 times the ratio of the difference between the overall cost to manufacture. Yeah. Overall cost to manufacture and car sales to the cost to manufacture of cars. So again, another convoluted statement, but it simply says the difference between, yeah, the car sales and the overall cost to manufacture. Yeah. So out here, overall monthly cost. So cost upon the cost to manufacture. So the cost to manufacture this and this is basically, selling price minus cost price upon cost price and 100 times the ratio. So 100 times that. So that is cost and 100 times. So now we know that we can use it as a selling price, cost price way of doing it. But B tells us that. And hence, the assumption I made, A, that is supported with statement B. So C is the answer because we cannot assume that the way we calculate the profit is simply the way we do the selling price, cost price thing. Otherwise, A would have been sufficient. So in this situation, both are required. Okay. Yeah. Right. simply because it doesn't tell us that this is a cost price and this is a selling price. Yeah, it tells us the car sales for the month, right? So, and there are many things that come in the picture, so it's important. Yeah. Now, people who would contend that there are several other factors. Yes, I understand, but then that several other factors is taken care by the B part. Okay. So, um, going back on A, B, C, D, E, right? So, although A seemed to answer, but without this expression in B, it cannot answer. So, B on its own doesn't answer because obviously we don't have the cost. A doesn't answer, correct? So, answer is C. Together it answers, right? Fifth one. When mixture X with three solutions in the ratio 8 is to power to 7 is added to another mixture Y with the same three solutions in the ratio 1 is to power to 4, then what would be the ratio of the three solutions in the resultant mixture? All right. So the mixture X to mixture Y is in the ratio of 1 is to 2. Okay. So if you add up these ratios, we come to know that there are 20 parts. Correct? 8, 5, 13, and 7, 20. If you add up these, it gives us 10 parts. Correct? So we can assume that these numbers itself is the quantity. Like we can assume it's to be 100 ml out here, yeah, and we can assume that it could be 200 ml out here, correct? Yes, yeah, and solve it in that fashion. All right, yeah, correct. But what I'm trying to say is that we might take it as 20 ml and 20 ml and solve it, yeah, or we can take it as 100 ml and 200 ml and solve it. So let's first try 20 ml and 20 ml. Okay? Suppose the first one was 20 ml, so it is one part. And the second one came to 10 parts, but we'll take it as 20 ml again. Okay, right? So then 8 and 2 parts of this gives us 10, correct? Yeah, if we take it as 20 ml, right? Okay, and then 5, correct? 5 and 10 parts of this gives us 15, and 7 and 8 parts of this gives us 15. So 20 ml and 20 ml doesn't work, right? 20 ml. So we can't take it as 20 parts and 10 parts and solve it. So it doesn't work. So we'll have to stick to simply taking quantities which are in the ratio of 1 and 2. So the 100 ml of this solution, mixture X, and 200 ml of this. Okay, and that's how we solve it. Okay, so we have 20 parts. We know that. So uh, so that is 20 parts, and that is 10 parts. So we'll take 80, 50, 70. No. So 20 is 5 times. So 8 5 the 40, 5 5 the 25, 7 5 the 35. That gives me 100 ml. Okay. And if you're taking 200 ml and there are 10 parts, all right, 10 parts, then 10, 50, 40 gives us 100. So we'll have to take it as, so the ratio out here becomes 40 in ml, 25 and 35 in ml of this 857, knowing it's 100 ml. And if it's 200 ml, this one, if you take 10, 50, 40, it gives me 100 ml. So we need 200 ml. So it'll be 20 is to 100 is to double of 40, that is 80. Understood? That gives me 200 ml. Okay. Now if we add them up, so we get 60, 25 and 100 is 125, and 35 and 80 is 115. So then together we come to know the right ratio. We divide by 5, so we get 12. We get 25, yeah, and we get 5 twos are 10 and 15, 5 threes are. So this is my actual answer, correct? Yeah, right. All right, all right. Yeah. So this 20 ml and this 10 part, yeah, did not work because we should have probably taken it as 40 ml. Then probably it would have worked. Yeah, but anyway, do not do this error. All right. Take a number 100 and 200, 1000 and 2000, however you like it, 50 and 100, 1 is to 2. It should be in the ratio 1 is to 2. So A answers the question. We get the resultant, uh, ratio. Uh, we get the ratio of the three solutions in the resultant mixture A, B, C, D, E. So A answers, B, yeah, C and E is out. It's either A or D. Second statement, if mixture was doubled, then the three solutions would be in the ratio of 2 is to 10 is to A. I think that mistake I did out here. We took it as 20 parts. Yeah. So that is actually incorrect because doubling it gives us the same ratio. We divide by 2, we get 1 is to 5 is to 8. 1 is to 5 is to 4. Yeah. So second one just tells us the same story, which is given in the question stem. Yeah. If mixture was doubled, then the three solutions would be in the ratio of 2 is to 10 is to 8. Yeah. So it's assuming it's 10 ml and then 20 ml that way, but the ratio remains the same. So B is not really answering. So A is out. I'm sorry, D is out, and only A answers the question. Okay. Yeah. Because doubling Y doesn't tell us anything about X. Okay. Yeah. Question 6. 500 articles cost a total of $2,500. If the 500 articles consist of two sizes, size A and size B, then is the average cost of an article of size A costlier than the average cost of an article of size B? So this is a weighted average concept. Okay. So suppose we say, yeah, that the average cost is 4 for size A and average cost of size B is 6, correct? Yeah. Then we know that the average of these two together would lie between 4 and 6, inclusive of 4 and 6. It will never be lesser than 4, never be greater than 6. So whatever the answer of the total average will be between 4 and 6, right? Okay. And that total average we come to know from here, 500 are the total articles and 25 is the total cost. So we know that $5 is the total average. Okay. But if you ignore that fact, for the time being, and just pay attention to this weighted concept, right, which I just explained, then you should know that the answer should lie between 4 and 6, inclusive of 4 and 6, but cannot be lesser than 4, cannot be greater than 6. Using this concept, yeah, all right. There's another concept attached to this is that if the number of articles of size A is equal to the number of articles of size B, that is, if the quantities are the same, then if you remember in the previous question, we simply took the average of the two concentrations. So out here, we'll simply take the average of the two averages. All right. Are you getting the picture? Yeah. So if the quantity of A and B sizes were equal, then we'll take the average of 4 and 6, and 5 is the answer if the quantities were equal. However, if the quantity B is more, then your average would have been greater than 5 if B is more. And if A is more, meaning the quantity of size A is more, then their average would have been lesser than 5. So this is $5 if quantity A is equal to B. If A is equal to B. All right. Not size A and size B. I'm talking about quantity of size A and quantity of size B are equal. Then if B is more and if A is more, so understand this to be not size B, but the quantity of size B is more than be greater than 5. this is assuming that 6 was the average and 4 was the average. Now, using this concept, we're going to answer this question whether average cost of an article of size A is costlier than the average cost of article of size B. And remember, they're asking then is the average. So the answer should be yes or no. Okay. So A, B, C, D. First statement says, and we know from the question that the 500 articles were sold at a cost of $2,500. So we know that the average, yeah, is $5. Okay. Now out here, the average cost of size A is $3. So looking at this figure, this one, and this one, I already told you that this number should be lying between this number of A and this number of B. So clearly, if this is the case, yeah, we'll have something greater than 5 or equal to 5 out here because this is the total average. Are you with me? This is a factual statement given us. So we know for a fact that it will be this 5 will be either the B average will be either 5 or greater than 5, correct? And hence we get a definite answer. Is the cost average cost of an article of size A costlier than the average cost? So the answer is a definite no. Since the total average is 5, we know that therefore B will be either 5 or greater than 5, the average cost of size B, right? Okay. So therefore, we got an answer using A. So B, C, and E is out. Now we'll check if D answers, right? The ratio of quantity of size A, so I'll solve it out here, to the quantity of size B articles is 2 is to 3. So when there are 500 articles and the ratio is 2 is to 3, so we know that size A has 200 articles and size B is 300 articles, correct? And we know that the average cost of all of them together is $5. Now out here, yeah, we cannot get an answer. The explanation is pretty simple, right? So we know that this is 5, correct? Average of these and these is 5, but we don't know the average out here. So see, not necessarily it should go in increasing order 3 and 5. It could go in decreasing order also, no? Like it could be $6, yeah, or $5, whatever you want to take it as, yeah. And out here it could be $3, or out here it would be $3 for A, and out here it could be $5 or 6. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we don't know whether the average cost of A is more than B or A is lesser than B because 5 lies between the two, not necessarily in the increasing order like I've shown in the statement A. To further, clarify, let me give you an example. Okay. So let me give you an example. Let me get rid of these numbers and give you actual numbers. Okay. Right. So we already know that the average is 5, which we know from the question stamp. Okay. So now suppose the 200 articles were sold for $5, average cost of $5. That gives me 1,000, and this is also $5, right? That gives me 1,500. So I got a total of 200 into 5,000 and 1,500. That is a total cost of 2,500. Yeah, and divide by 500. That gives me, so everything is 5,555. So the question is A costlier than B? The answer is no. But is it a definite no? I can use another number out here. Yeah. So I can say let that this be $4. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We need to get $5 only as a total average. So if I use 300 into 4, I get 1,200. So I know now 1,300 is needs to be the total of size A articles. And with a knowing that there are 200 articles, so 200 into what number gives me 1,300? So 200 into obviously 2 into 6.5 gives me 13. So it should be around $6.5, right? Yeah. So now is 6.5 average greater than 4? The answer is yes. So we're getting a no yes situation. Yeah. So B doesn't answer. B doesn't answer. Therefore, D is out. Only A answers. So 6 is A. Got it? Yeah. All right. Seventh one. Neil weighs 50 kg and Sarah weighs 45 kg before they went camping. After 3 weeks of camping, they measured their weight again and found both of their weights decreased by the same percentage. Find Sarah's weight. Okay. So statement A. Neil lost a kilogram every week of camping. So when they went for 3 weeks of camping, Neil lost 1 kg every week. So for 3 weeks, he lost 3 kgs. And before camping, his weight was 50 kg. So now his weight is 47 kg. And remember, both of them found their weights to decrease by the same percentage. So 3 upon 50, because the difference of 47 and 50 kg is 3 kg upon the original into 100. So we know that 6% is the amount that, you know, Neil's weight decreased by 6%, and so Sarah's weight also, because both the weights decreased by the same percent. So if Sarah is 45 kg and we take a decrease of 6%, meaning we take 94% of 45, that will give me my answer. So find Sarah's weight. Yeah, find Sarah's weight. Okay. So I should be saying find Sarah's weight after camping. All right. After camping. Right. So A answers, B, C, E is out. Now does statement B also answer? Sarah's weight increased by 2% after week 1 and reduced by 3% after week 2. But it doesn't tell us what happened after week 3. So we really can't really do the math on this. Correct? Yeah. All we have is Neil and Sarah's weight decreased by the same percentage, and we know their individual weights is 50 and 45. Yeah. And with statement B alone, Sarah's weight increased by 2% after week 1. So we can do the math of 45 plus 2% of 45. And then whatever that number, you know, reduces by 3%. But then we don't know what happened after week 3, right? So we don't have any kind of way to cross check also, because Neil's information is given in A. Right? So that's it. Then B doesn't answer. So therefore, only A is the answer. Seventh one is A. Okay. So yes, one correction I need to make is find Sarah's weight after camping, which is obviously understood, but to be correct technically, I need to mention that. So I'll update. All right. Eighth one. William invested X dollars in a bond that paid 10% annual interest compounded quarterly. Okay. So compounded quarterly, meaning every 3 months, 10% per annum is the annual interest. So find the amount William would receive on maturity, meaning the interest plus the principal is what they're asking. Okay. So statement A, William invested for a period of 12 months. Fair enough. Yeah. But yet we don't know the X dollars, so therefore we can't know the maturity amount. So A doesn't answer, D doesn't answer. So B, C, or E. B. If William had invested X at simple annual interest rate, so now simple annual interest rate is simply PTR over 100. That is a simple interest. Yeah. Of 10%. Yeah. So principal into 10%. Then you would have received a total of 100 $1,150 at the end of 18 months. So the time is 18 months. We need to divide by 12 so that we get an annual number. Yeah, correct. And this is at the rate of 10%. And that is 1150. No, yeah. So that is the interest part. Interest part. So this gives us the simple interest, right? And if we take the principal plus the simple interest, we get 1150. Yeah. Then he would have received a total of 1150 at the end of 18 months. So P plus P into 18 by 12 into 10 by 100 is equal to 1150. So this gives us the P. And once we know P, yeah, then we can get our answer, 10% annual interest. Correct? Yes? No. Right? No. Because we don't know the period that he invested the money. Correct? The period that he invested. So he invested for a period of 12 months. So B alone gives us the principal. So we'll calculate the principal first. But we know that B alone doesn't answer. C is the answer because we need to figure out for how many quarters he invested, Yeah, correct. Anyway, so let's do the math first out here. So we get 6 twos are 6 threes are and 1/10. So we get P plus 3 by 20P is equal to 1150. Correct? Yeah. So uh, so we know 23 FISA is 115. 25 the 100, 3 5 the 15. So this is 50. 15 to 20 is 1000. So we invested $1,000. Okay. So that's it. We come to know the X is 1000. Yeah. Which is your P actually. Yeah. And we know the 12 months. So the amount is principal into 1 plus R raised to N. So out here it is 1000 into 1 plus 10%. Yeah. Now remember that 10% is compounded quarterly. So this is an annual interest rate. So 10% by 4 because there are 4 quarters and raised to every quarter. So how many quarters in 12 months? There are 4 quarters. So raised to 4 like that. This is how we get the answer. But we don't care about getting to the actual answer because all we need to figure out is whether we can get to the answer. We don't have to really do the math. So clearly C is the answer. Okay. So when I discuss percents, mixtures, ratios, or percents, ratios, and mixtures, whatever the title, percent ratios, mixtures, I've taken care of also giving you compound interest, simple interest question. One of them. 9th one. Maya sold all books at a fixed rate for a discount of 30% on weekdays. And over the weekends, she gave a discount of 10% on the first book and 20% discount on the second book. All right. So 30% is for the weekdays and 10 and 20% respectively for the first and second book. Find out if Maya made more sales over the weekend or on weekdays in the first week of December. So, in other words, find out if Maya made more money, yeah, over the weekend or on weekdays in the first week of December. So, looking at the discount pattern, she's clearly giving more discount, yeah. And very crucial information is all the books are sold at a fixed rate. Maya sold all books at a fixed rate for a discount, yeah, of 30% on weekdays, and over the weekend she gave a discount of 10% on the first book and 20% discount on the second book. So Maya sold all books at a fixed rate. Yeah. Okay. So maybe more clarification required out here. Maybe I should have mentioned that the retail price is the same for all books that Maya sold. Yeah. And then I should probably be talking about the discounts on weekdays and weekends. So probably need more correction out there. So you'll get a corrected worksheet. But as of now, just remember that all the books are sold at the same retail price, correct? Yeah. But on weekdays, she gave a discount of 30%, and on weekends, she gave a discount of 10 and 20% respectively on the first and second book. Now we need to figure out whether she made more sales on over the weekend or weekday. Now, if there were more than 2 books purchased by any customer in the same transaction over the weekend, then Maya offered a fixed discount of 28% on all books purchased by that customer. So it's clarifying the fact that what if the customer, yeah, bought more than 2 books, then what kind of discount should we offer? Or there is no discount. What is it? So that clarity is given by A, and the clarity is that any purchase in the same transaction of more than 2 books, the calculation is done by simply giving a 28% discount on the retail price of all books. Okay. All right. Now That yet doesn't tell us how many books were sold over the weekend or on the weekdays. That information we are getting from B. Maya sold a total of 30 books on weekdays and a total of 30 books over the weekend in the first week of December. All right. So now the question is that yes, I know the number of books sold and all of them have the same retail price, right? Then we should get an answer, correct? But yet there would be some doubt because the way I've worded this question, 10% of the first book, 20% of the second book, yeah, and more than two books for the weekends, it would be 28%, yeah. So then you might wonder if what if the 30 books were all individual one book transactions? Then in that case also 10% discount is better than a 30% discount because on Monday, on the weekdays, he also sold 30 books and they were at a fixed rate of 30%. I mean, discount rate of 30%, right? So that confusion is anyways taken care of because whether or not one book purchase, two book purchase, yeah, right, or two book transaction. So let's say a consumer purchased, a customer purchased two books on the weekend. So two books, yeah, let's just say the each book is $10, right? So for the weekday, a 30% discount meaning total cost of $20, 30% discount on this is $6 off. Correct? Yeah. So Maya would get $14. But if you consider the weekend, if you consider the weekend, then suppose there were two books, $10, you get a discount of 10%. Yeah. So it becomes $1 less. So $9 is the selling price. And another $10, second book, she'll get a discount of 20%. So it'll become $2 discount. So it becomes $8. So the total cost is $17 compared to $14. Are you getting me? Yeah, correct. Right. So, anyways, and if you would say, okay, what if the two books were individual transactions? So individual transactions of $10 will give you 30% discount, meaning $7 it is sold for, and $10, $7. So it just comes down to the same number, $14, right? So any which way, however the 30 books are sold over the weekend, she's making more money over the weekend. Simple, yeah. And if you consider 28% also is less than 30%. So she's making more money with a 28% discount, even if the customer bought more than two books. So clearly, the winner is the weekend one. So that confusion, I intentionally did it so that you know, some people would probably just select B as the answer. Yeah, because 28% is first information of 28%, but then it is important. Yeah, A doesn't answer because we don't know the number of books. B doesn't tell us uh, you know the information about what if more than two books were sold and how the percentage is calculated. So therefore, you know, statement B on its own doesn't tell us about from the third book onwards. What if a customer bought three books? Then what kind of discount is happening? So to clarify that, statement B is required, and hence both together gives us the answer. So this was the ninth question. Another correction that I need to make is obviously a very technical correction that the fixed rate I need to clarify that properly. Okay, last question. Jack purchased a car which depreciated value by 10% every year. Yeah. Find the price at which Jack purchased the car if he sold it after 3 years at its depreciated value. Statement A. Jack sold the car at 72.9% of his purchase price. Okay. But yet we don't know what his purchase price is, right? So whatever percentage you give us, it doesn't tell us anything about the purchase price. It could be dollars 100 also, dollars 10,000 also, anything it could be, right? So we really don't know. So although this number, depreciation of 10% every year, yeah, so the depreciated value, okay, is coming to 1 minus R raised to 3 for 3 years, and R is 10%. So P into 1 minus 10% is 0.1, right? 0.9, yeah. So P into 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9 raised to 3. Therefore, P into, so D is, therefore D is equal to, P into zero point 0.9 into zero point 0.9, and zero point 0.9 is 0.729, which is 72.9% of the principal amount of the purchase price. Correct. But we don't know the purchase price, so A doesn't answer. So B, C, or E. Statement B, the depreciated value of the car was exactly 5420 less than the price Jack paid for the car. All right. So out here, we know that the depreciated value of the car was exactly 5420 less than the price Jack paid for. All right. So suppose this is our depreciated value, then this D value was exactly 5420 less than the purchase value. Correct? This is what the expression means. And this is the price at which he sold the car, but we have to find out the purchase price, P. So therefore, P is 5240 plus D, or D plus 5240. Are you with me? And that D we can get from, yeah, here, right? By simply using this expression. So I'll use it out here, right? So P is equal to 5240 plus D. And that is 5240 plus this number, P into 0.729. And that's P out here. So therefore we get P minus 0.729P is equal to 5240. So this is 0.28271. Yeah, 271 P is equal to 5240. So P is equal to 5240. Yeah, and then divide by 0.271. So I'm going to multiply it by 1000 to get 271. And 271 and 524, I'm sorry, 5420. 5420. It's 5420. So it becomes a perfect multiple. 5420. Yeah. Now we know that 271 is half of 542. So 271 twos are correct. And then 0 of this one. So 20,000. So we know the purchase price is 20,000. So B alone gives us the answer. Another calculative question, but it really clears all your concepts to the worksheet, and hence it's meant for advanced learners. Yeah. Thank you very much. So B answers the question, and you'll find the worksheet, the corrected one, in the link given in the description of the video and the channels. Thank you. Bye.